Well, you're gonna run the shot put, man? Oh, no, wait, that's the long jump. You getting ready to do the long jump, are you? Hi, I'm Black Dragon. Welcome to my channel, Black Dragon National President. Today I want to talk about a subject that is near and dear to my heart. And it was really kind of sad because the club, I think, was born like in 1966. And therefore stands as one of the oldest motorcycle clubs in the Atlanta area. And there was a lot of bitterness from some of the folks that were posting videos. They felt like, in some respects, the club had been abandoned by the community, as the motorcycle club community, had really stopped supporting it, stopped coming out to hang out, stopped going to the annuals, and stopped supporting, come on dog, this way man, stopped supporting a lot of the functions and things that were going on. So a few things. One, today's biker that joins a motorcycle club, they have different reasons for joining. Those don't seem to be the same reasons that we joined 25 and 30 years ago. And you can't really expect them to be the same, because these kids have new direction. They have new ideas, new attitudes. The world is not the same as it was then. You know, there was no such thing as a cell phone. Now, I lived in a time that there were no cell phones. I lived in a time that there was no internet. I lived in a time when, if you wanted to talk to somebody mobily, you pulled up to a payphone. And I realized that there are kids in my motorcycle club that have never even seen a damn payphone. They don't even have an idea of that construct. I lived in a time when there were no applications, there was no WhatsApp, there was no chat. You didn't say to somebody, I'm on my way, and then a button popped up and you pressed a button and now they were seeing a map of where you were. That did not exist. So, because communication has gotten tons better, and people are able to do things they were never able to do before, motivations for brotherhood change. People change. Reasons for riding change. And old club members need to realize that you can't be so mad all the time because the old school isn't doing what the new school is doing. Well, the printing press remained the most important device of communication, mass communication, for like 300 years. And it wasn't until social media came along that changed. A lot of people I know now don't even own printers. You don't need a printer. We can reach thousands and thousands and thousands and millions of people and never cut down one damn tree. These are the things that motorcycle clubs have to understand. As times change, people change. Used to be we're an aggregation, I forget the word, aggregatorial, some word like that, agrarian. We were an agriculture-based society. And during that time, you know, you went to bed at 9 o'clock. You went to bed at sundown. What the hell was there to do? You had to tend those crops, and you had to be up at sunup to do that. I come from that kind of an era. I come from that kind of a place. Grew up on a farm. But I got to see, when you go to the city, you're not working sunup to sundown. You work 8 hours a day and you're off on weekends. Holy moly. There's a whole lot of free time to do a whole lot of things. So your motivations change. So I say that because a lot of times motorcycle clubs, when they start, they don't realize that if I'm actually around 40 years from now, what will the landscape look like? What will my members look like? What will their motivations be? And if we planned for some of that, it wouldn't hit us 40 years later in the mouth. One of the reasons it's hard to plan for some of that is because we're kids when we get started, a lot of us. We're in our teens. We don't care about the future. We're going to live forever. Our biggest battle is with the old timers in the club. Old timers hate young kids coming into a club. Oh, we act like we like them. Oh, there's the prospect. But we hate them. We hate what they stand for. We hate their energy. We hate their exuberance. And we can't stand the way they make decisions. But old people need to understand the biggest thing about young people is that they still damn ride. They still ride with passion. And a motorcycle club is about riding. And it's about riding with passion. So we get to the point where we don't want to move over and get out of the way. We just want to hog up until we run all the young kids away. Then we're destined to failure because nothing lives forever. I rode this past weekend. Was it this past weekend? Maybe last weekend, the weekend before. You guys saw the video. I rode with my club. I'm 54 years old now. We spent 18 hours on the highway that day. The next day, we spent 8 hours on the highway. And the next day, we spent 6 hours on the highway. We rode like almost 40 hours in a weekend. How many 54-year-olds are doing that? I spent the next 5 days on the couch trying to catch a second breath. The idea is this. There comes a time when you need to sit your butt down and let the young guys do what the young guys are going to do. And when you hate on them and you run them away, you doom your motorcycle club to failure. A club that's not growing is a club that's dying. If it's been 2 or 3 years since you took a prospect in, you need to rethink your ways. I saw it happen in my own club. And I say that as I go back to the premise of this video. When we were young and we got our motorcycle club and the rent was $200 a month and we had 30 people in the club, nowhere did any of those guys say, gee, we might be doing this 30 or 40 or now 45 years. Maybe we need to buy this motorcycle clubhouse. We were in the ghetto, the rent was cheap, but nobody was willing to sign their name on that signature block because you weren't long-term thinkers. And I would tell you guys that have come along these days, you younger guys, the biggest thing you have to do is plan for the future. If you really believe in this brotherhood and you believe that this is going to last you a lifetime, and you're going to be in it forever, what planning are you doing for the future? Is it just chasing chicks, getting some piece of leg and riding fast motorcycles and just living life like there will be no tomorrow? Because if you live long enough, there will be a tomorrow. There'll be lots of tomorrows. So many tomorrows that it'll blow your mind. And then you'll look around and you'll be 54 years old. And now you're looking at your clubhouse. And maybe you stop taking in members. And now everybody's 50 and nobody's riding and nobody's coming to see you anymore. And nobody is coming to your parties anymore. You're not the hippest, coolest thing. But if you own that real estate, if that clubhouse belonged to you, it really wouldn't matter because it's paid for. Anybody can gather together the $2,000 or $3,000 a year it takes to pay the taxes, but trying to make that $1,500 mortgage when it started out as $200, trying to make that rent, that $2,500 a month rent payment. We got started in our San Diego clubhouse at $100, $200 a month. And over the years, we saw the rent go all the way up to over $2,000 a month. And those guys never bought the clubhouse. So after being in that clubhouse for 43 years, 42 years, they lost it. They lost the mother chapter. Gone. And I see it happen in club after club after club after club. Black clubs, white clubs, come on, man, get out the street. Black clubs, white clubs, really doesn't matter. Because it's the same kind of ideas. Those ideas that we're going to live forever, we're going to last forever. We're never going to have any problems. We're going to be young forever. So there's no planning. So in this channel, I try to help bikers and motorcycle club people not make the same mistakes we made. And one of the biggest mistakes we ever made was that we didn't buy the mother chapter. We didn't pay for it. We didn't purchase it. The business manager, the treasurer, the presidents, one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, never made the commitment to buy that real estate. And in the United States, real estate is perhaps one of the most important investments that you can make. A motorcycle club that owns its own real estate, they don't get to come zone you out like, hey man, you can't have a motorcycle club here anymore. The neighbors don't like it. Okay, well, if we gotta move, we're gonna get paid. We're gonna have the money necessary to go find us a spot where we can exist in peace. And I'll tell you something else. Ghettos don't stay ghettos. Gentrification and real estate, real estate moves like an ocean. A place that's a ghetto for 80 years. Some developer sees it, gentrifies it, claims it, buys all the people out, and turns it into something that's swank and beautiful. So in another place that we were, we found that people are we found that the owner that owned the land we were on, when he realized this place was no longer a ghetto, or that it was now prime real estate, our club that had been in there for years and years and years and years and years, all of a sudden, one day, you get the mother chapter sold out from underneath you. Boom! It's not your building anymore, or whatever chapter it is. It's sold out from underneath you by the developer whose place wasn't worth $100,000, and now he can get $500,000 for it, or even better. Because it's no longer considered a ghetto, they're moving in some new yuppies, and they want to buy refurbished buildings and call them lofts. And here you are in a warehouse, and they make the best lofts. So I think of some of the greatest ghettos I've ever known, like Cabrini Green. If you had been in Cabrini Green, which was in Chicago, if you had been in that place in the 70s or 80s, you would have thought that it would never be anything other than Cabrini Green. It's flattened now, gone, and development has taken over. There were some ghettos here in Atlanta, some government housing, and over on a street called Bankhead. Gone, flattened. Government has found new uses for that land. And I can't tell you how many motorcycle clubs I used to party at in the 80s and in the 90s that have been flattened and turned into prime real estate, and you can't even afford to buy there anymore. And if you were a renter, no more clubhouse. And now you can't afford the incredible rents that you have to pay. So, rule number 1, buy your damn clubhouse. Figure out a way to buy your damn clubhouse. If you got to buy some land, you can buy some land and put up a portable building. Buy the land out, away from people, so nobody's pissed off when you're racing up and down the street and revving your motorcycle engines at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. If you're young, in a young motorcycle club, and you guys are in your 20s, and you're getting ready to do it big, and you got a 300-member crew built up, and you're growing like wildfire, it's not going to always be that way. We were all that way at one time. We all had people just dying to ride in our motorcycle club, and people wanted to be a part of it. But what happens? Only the strong survive. Only the most dedicated. And so what happens is the motorcycle club grows and it shrinks. It ebbs and it flows. It gets bigger and it gets smaller. People get older, people get wiser, and then you might be down to 15 members. And then 10, then 8, then maybe 5 for a while. You're not bringing any young people in. But if you own that land, if that motorcycle club is owned by the MC, oh boy, you got some choices. Nobody's kicking you out. Nobody's putting you out. If they gentrify your neighborhood, somebody's got to buy you out. And the mother chapter continues to live. I think the toughest part about MCing is the business of MC. The hardcore ones and zeros, because so many people approach the MC like it's some kind of a toy. They look at it as a hobby and a hobby only. And I don't like hobbyists in my MC. I like dedicated brothers who are down for the cause, both financially, family-wise, what it means to ride, what it means to be part of the entire brotherhood. That's what I'm concerned with. Those are the people I like in my club. You know, I remember my first several years of being in the club, I didn't even have any idea where the dues went. I didn't care. All I wanted to do was ride and have fun. But if you're a member who doesn't care about the dues and you're just giving your money away and not demanding an accounting for it, you set the club up for theft. You set the club up for misuse. You set the club up for ineffective spending. It's important to make sure that the club is thriving. And the financial aspects of the club are important if you want the club to survive. No club survives on goodwill. And when it comes to a clubhouse, the clubhouse must be maintained. And one of the strongest ways to maintain the clubhouse is to own that sucker outright. So I see guys put together, and a lot of folks when they put together their motorcycle club, they're not thinking about a clubhouse. Now in the days of the Black Sabbath, you had to have a clubhouse. So the motorcycle club didn't even start until they got their clubhouse. So it was a little bit different then. Now we got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of motorcycle clubs without clubhouses all over. But if you're going to make that step, my advice to you is to buy it. Find a piece of land somewhere. Get one of those prefab buildings thrown up. You know, you can grab a piece of land for inexpensive, throw a $40,000 building on top of it, and dude, you're hanging out. You got a warehouse. These are things to consider. These are things you can consider when you are thinking about getting your motorcycle clubhouse. Well, my walk is about over. Trying to get skinny again. It's long and slow, but the dog is back up and operational, and he wants to be everywhere. But come on, man. He's walking the hell out of me. So we're gonna try to get skinny again. Every time we really get good at this, something happens and we get hurt or something. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Listen, my latest articles you can get free on eZine. The link to it is either in the bottom of the description or up at the top in the About section. My book, President's Bible, is due out imminently. And of course, please go look at Prospects Bible, the Prospects Bible for Women's Motorcycle Clubs, Sergeant at Arms Bible, and Public Relations Officer's Bible, all available on Amazon. And coming soon, I have a new podcast coming soon, so that's going to be exciting. I just made some advancements in my new sound booth, so we're going to have some really cool podcasting coming up. Love you all. Work out strong, eat well, love each other, treat each other good, and get skinny.